Greetings. So how y'all doing today? Hopefully all is well. Let's get into it. So I'm not promoting this book, however, I like this image that was on this book because it talks a lot about what I want to talk about. Okay, so let's understand when I talk about we are the ancient Egyptians. I don't know what you think about that, but let me explain what I am saying when I say we are the ancient Egyptians. The ancient Egyptians have a way of life. They understood nature, which is the language of Netaru. They understood netters, which were the gods. They understood the elements. They understood the connection of the elements. They understood divinatory arts, crystal gazing, astrology, horoscopes, tarot, oracle cards, oracle readings. They understood astrology, astronomy, numerology. They understood magic. They understood animal totem. They understood the interconnectedness between all things in the universe. Um, they also teach that we are the mansion of souls. So, being that we are the mansion of souls, notice that the word man, Zion, of souls, we are the collection of suns, the collection of nucleuses, the collection of solar energy. So, we spoke about how the soul, excuse me, the soul is the soil, right? So if we had soil and we took the I out of soil, we have soul. So in that soul, we know that the soul is the nourishment. The soul is where the tree can form roots. The soul is where the seed that germinates can form roots and begin its growing process and begin to cultivate itself and begin to evolve itself, begin to formate itself, right? So we understand that the soul is nurturing. We understand the soul is the foundation of life. We understand the soul is the earth that we walking on. It's the center of our universe. It's our everything. It's our solar system. Without the soul, we are nothing. So we are just just interconnected to this soul. Okay, so I'm going to break down these ancient deities, not all, but some, to give you an idea generally of who these ancient deities are. So this is created for a beginner's level to understand the deity. So if you're interested in this ebook, please let me know. I have created this ebook, so the knowledge that I'm giving forth is in the ebook. Um, okay, so this breaks down the two lands and how the two lands are the duality. The two lands are also because we know that the soil is the soul, and that's what nurtures us, and that's where our growth and evolution comes from. We also know that when we talk about the soul and we talk about the soil, we're talking about the land, we're talking about the earth. And in ancient Egyptian knowledge, um, there is a deity called Geb. And Geb called the earth, Father Earth. So that is actually the soil that you are standing on, is the earth, which is where the soul comes from, right? The soul comes from this planetary energy. This soul comes from this source. Um, this soul comes from these organisms that are living organisms that come together to form the soil, and from this soil, life springs forth. From this soil, organisms such as bacteria, fungus, um, the biological kingdoms they self come forth from this soil. We even come forth from the soil, because it say in the Bible that man was formed from the dust off the ground. It say that man was formed from the earth. So therefore, that's why they call man an earthling or a terra, which is a terrestrial. One moment, y'all. Okay, okay. So it is even called extraterrestrials. So extraterrestrials are people that come from the terrestrial, which is the terrain, which is the earth. Okay. So us coming from this earth, this formation, these organic, these organisms, this nature, these life forms, because that is what you are. You are all these biological systems, right? Okay, so with that being said, let's get into it. Um, there are two lands, a duality. So that's why you have a mother and a father, because those are the two lands. That is the duality. That is, um, it's physical and it's spiritual, as above, so below. So that is the duality, the mother and the father. So that's why we have a mother and a father land. We have a masculine and feminine. This is why we have a north and a south, a east and a west, a up and a down. You know, everything in nature has a duality, because that's how everything was created, off the duality, the dual nature. So everything has a counterpart in the universe. Um, so Geb, when we started out the live talking about Geb and how Geb represents the earth, um, you would have his counterpart, which is Tefnut. So Tefnut is also moisture. Okay, so from Geb comes the organisms that are living. From Tefnut comes the moisture that gives these organisms life, that allow these organisms movement, that allow these organisms vibration. So these two together become one. This is why it says when your mother and father come together, you become one. This is why I say when people come together into anything, that your ass shall be given unto them, because the power of two coming together as one is powerful, because that is being able to use your magic to manipulate the duality, which is a higher source of magic, which we'll get into that later, but let's stay focused to these deities. Um, so we talked about Geb and Tefnut, and Nu is the primordial water, the primordial being that all of these life forms come from, because Nu is Geb's mother. Nu is Tefnut's mother. So Nu gave life to Capri, which is the sky. Nu gave life to Geb, which is the earth and the living organisms that are in it. Nu gave life to Tefnut, which is the moisture, which is the air that we breathe, which is the ether that we can pull down from the universe to connect to those that are in the etheric realm that we call angels or ancestors, or some people call them dead, or some people call them the people that have passed on or moved on, that are living in different dimensions. Um, so we have Osiris. Osiris is the Pharaoh. Osiris represents the sovereign head of the universe. Osiris also represents resurrection, new beginnings, growth, rebirth, fertility. Osiris has a twin brother named Set. Set is represented as storms, chaos, disorder, and death. The thing about Set and Osiris is they are a duality, and because they are a duality, they go together. So, in your life, you will experience chaos and storms, and from this chaos, you will find order. From these storms, you will find your way. From these storms, you will find peace. From these storms, you will find that trouble don't last always if you stay focused. So Set is not always negative. Set is necessary because without Set, you cannot realize that you are strong if you did not have to weather the storm. Without Set, you cannot realize how brave you are if you did not have to stand in the face of adversity in the middle of your storm. So Set does help out with your evolution. Set does help out with establishing, you learn how to establish yourself in your chaos, in your storms, in your disorder, in your dysfunction, in your death. Okay, because those are the things that Set represents. Set is an ancient energy that lives within you, just like Osiris is an ancient energy because Osiris represents the beginning. Osiris represents resurrection, coming back. So we got the Alpha and Omega here. We got the beginning and the end here. You know, we got the duality here. And Set has a wife named Nephthys. So Nephthys deals with death, mourning. She is the protector of the dead. Um, Nephthys also is goddess of mourning. So Nephthys is the deity energy that lives in you that you will deal with when you mourn in the loss of a loved one, when you going through the dark nights of the soul, when you are going through these storms and this chaos and this disorder and these deaths in your life, you are experiencing Set and Nephthys. And these are energies. Um, so let me see. I'm reading out my little booklet here. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Okay. I ain't gonna give you everything, but I'm giving you enough to work with. You feel me? You feel me? The book is a very good investment, and I got pictures, images to help you kind of. And I got some links in here, some audio books in here. You know, I got a lot of information. I got it jam packed with a lot of information in here. But I want to help people. You know, the fact that I did delete all my videos means I have to recreate content. So I have to go back to the drawing board and remember what was significant. And what is significant is learning about these deities. So I did have videos up of these deities. So let me recreate my deity videos. But this time, instead of me just doing deity videos, I'm actually gonna create. Well, I did create the e-booklet that goes along with it. So if you're interested in taking your knowledge further, make sure you comment in the chat that you are interested in the you are interested in getting receiving the e-booklet. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm not really sure because I would need your email address in order to. I'm not really sure how I would do that on here. See, cause on TikTok you could DM me directly. So if you follow me on TikTok, you could definitely go to my TikTok page or my Facebook page and DM me directly. But if you just follow me on YouTube, I'm not really sure how that works because my website is not up at the moment. So yeah, if we could figure out how to do that, that'll be great. But okay, that's here nor there. And that's not being unprofessional, it's just being unprepared. And hey, life happens. I'm not perfect. So, you know, I'm working on not being judged, but I'm explaining myself and communicating. So, you know. But anyway, back to the deities. Gratitude, if you're watching, can you hit the like button? Yes, if you hit the like button, it lets YouTube know that you do like my content. Because I'm a content creator, so I do depend on these likes in order for me to be successful. So if you don't mind hitting the like button, can you please hit the like button? Also, if you can share the video, gratitude, because sharing is how people learn. If you can share the knowledge, if you can, let your friends know. When you share the word, that's how the word gets spread. So gratitude is a good attitude. So if you're here for it to help raise the vibration and help me get these good vibes out here, gratitude to each and every last one of you that will do that. Um, also, um, I will have my website back up and running shortly, so I'm not really gonna spend a lot of time worried about how you can get the e-booklet. So if you're interested in e-booklet, make sure you comment it down in the chat. That's my issue to worry about how you gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? But okay, so here we go. Um, Going over the deities that we already spoke about. Um, Set is the god of chaos. Osiris is the god of order. These two are duality, Alpha and Omega. Um, your we have Isis, which is Osiris' counterpart. So, her being Osiris' counterpart, she balances out Osiris. So, Isis is also the goddess of healing, the goddess of protection, the deity of magic, We learned that magic is our soul because we are magi. So magi is wisdom. We learned that in order for us to be magical, in order for us to be wise, we have to have a loving spirit. We have to honor the laws of Ma'at. Ma'at is my heart. Ma'at is associated with feathers. Isis is also associated with feathers. Isis is associated with birds, hawks, falcons, owls, wings. She is associated with protection, healing, motherhood, the nurturer of her son. So if her son is the soil, she is the nurturer of that soil. She is the 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 life of that soil. She is what keeps that soil in good condition. She is what keeps that soil fertile. She is what keeps that soil in a position to give life. Okay, so Isis is also associated with cows, horns, wings, scorpions, and serpents. So when we talk about ancient Egyptian knowledge, we're also talking about the ancient Naga civilization, which is the Indians that built the mounds in the shape of the serpents, that built the waterways in the shapes of the serpents, that are honoring their civilization that they call Mississippi, Isis. They were giving homage to their mother, who is the nourisher of the soul, the mother of the Pharaoh. Okay? So, Isis' son name is Heru. Heru is Horus. Heru is also associated with being the divine protector, the restoration, the resurrection, the triumph, the succession, the victory, the overcomer. So the son, because the father is associated with new beginnings, resurrection, fertility, growth, rebirth. The son, which is associated with restoration and resurrection and triumph and succession, is created in his father's image. Because even though Osiris is Heru's father, Set destroyed Osiris. So Set is the chaos. Set is the storms, the disorder, the death, the destruction. That destroyed Osiris. So Osiris, because energy does not die, it can only transform. Osiris transformed into his son, Heru. So this is dealing with transformations. This is dealing with shape shifting. Even it's not a physical shape shift because you are in a physical flesh. You in a physical being. So a lot of this spiritual stuff you see it physically and you can't look at it physically. This is Osiris, the father, Heru, his son, And the mother, Isis, the serpent that can change forms. You know, serpents shed their skin. Whenever a serpent grows, like every so often when it grows, sheds its skin. And when it sheds its skin, it grows a new skin. So that's why you are called the serpent people because you shed skins. So when you go throughout your life and you pass away, what we call move on to another life, you're shedding skins. So the next lifetime, you are going to come back through a different skin. You're going to have a different mother, a different father. You're going to have a different genetical makeup. You're going to be a different being. And when you come back as a different being, that is renewal. That is your Hebrew. That is your resurrection. That is your succession. That is your victory, your triumph. That is you coming back to defeat Set, which is the chaos, which is the storms, which is the disorder, which is the death, which is the things in life that will beat you down. That is Set, Satan, Set. Um, Canaan is an ancient deity. This is your mother's womb. So your mother's womb is also a realm-headed deity. So you know how they say the zodiac starts off with the ram, the arms, the spirit. That's your mama's womb, Canaan. Now that is the creator of men. Because Canaan creates two fashions on a potter's wheel. One is carbon and one is physical. So this is why you have a physical body called the Ba, and you have a spiritual body called the Ka. Then you have your soul, which is your Madri. So you have your Madri Ka Ba. And that is your spaceship. That is your vessel. That is your karmic vehicle that carries your soul, the vessel. This is how you travel to and from around in the earth, which is actually the primordial sea. This is why it's under maritime law, because it's Mary, the soul. This is about the water being under the law. Land, air, and water. That's the law. Land being your physical body. Land being your mindset. Land being your earth, which is your heart, which is your terror. Water, which is your blood. 80% of you are blood. 80% of you are water. The water in your body is blood. Your plasma is blood. Your blood is blood. The air that you breathe is also blood because your lungs are filled with blood vessels. These blood vessels ignite. That's your ignis, which is your fire, which is your crystals that are inside of your blood. You have crystals that are inside of you. Literally like the ground, like soil. You have crystals, fertile soil, minerals. This is what you are. You are soil, minerals, elements, hydrogen, oxygen, helium, carbon, ether, literally elements, minerals, earth, air, water, fire, the elements, netaru, nature. So we went over the deities, the ancient deities, talked about, okay, Anubis. Anubis is god of death, god of mummification, god of this guiding souls into the next world, into the next realm, into the next dimension. Anubis practiced necromancy. Necromancy is an ancient magic of communicating with the dead for divination and gaining knowledge purposes, guiding your soul from the physical realm into the spiritual realm, protecting the soul, funeral practices, embalming. I got some ancient tribes and ancient people such as Aztecs, Mayans, Tibetans, Nigerians that actually practice embalming rites of Anubis to where you can find your culture with receipts. It's culture, preserving the body, spiritual rights. So we are multidimensional beings. We are universal beings. We are the ancient Egyptians, and this is our knowledge. So gratitude for watching, gratitude for tuning in for my spiritual situation, ancient deity video. But yes, I'm gonna keep them short, sweet, to the point. So gratitude for the likes. If you watch this video, please like it, share it, subscribe. I will talk to you beautiful souls real soon. Peace.